From Taylor Fritz violently vomiting on the court to Emma Raducanu retiring during a game because of lower back pain. These are times tennis stars push themselves way too far. Let's kick this list off with something a tad gruesome. At the recent Mexican Open, American tennis star Taylor Fritz was engaged in an intense battle with Tommy Paul, and the two were on the court for hours.
More like it.
But running from corner to corner in the Mexican heat for too long can only lead to one thing: disaster. In the middle of the match, the heat proved too much for Fritz to handle, and suddenly he threw up in the middle of a game. Poor guy, and poor crowd, am I right? After a short break, Fritz showed some serious heart, picked up his racket, and continued with the match. However, it was clear that at this point, poor old Taylor was completely done. He went on to lose the match against Tommy, which was heartbreaking to watch. It was later revealed that during the match, Taylor was severely dehydrated, causing nausea and eventually vomiting. Things didn't get better after the match either. Taylor tried to recover, but continued throwing up and cramping severely. In a recent interview, he said, "I tried to get into the shower. Sometimes that helps me not full body cramp. I basically just collapsed in the shower. I went to the ground and felt like I was gonna pass out. I went through this cycle the next 4 hours where I just full body cramp everywhere. I tried to get some fluids in me and threw it all up, and then start cramping again." Damn, talk about dedicating yourself to the sport and pushing yourself to the max. This guy was literally willing to die to secure a win, and no one can say he didn't try his hardest.
What a smart serve.
In the same interview, Taylor further revealed, "That was pretty embarrassing to throw up on the court. The crazy thing is, I've never in my life thrown up from any kind of physical activity. That's the first time ever." Hey, I get it, man, but the fact that you were willing to push yourself to the point of physical exhaustion deserves nothing but respect. So good on you, Taylor. Maybe just drink a little more high-quality H2O next time, okay? Now, a list of tennis players pushing themselves way too far wouldn't be complete without mentioning the name Rafael Nadal. The guy's quite literally the king of pushing his body too far.
I think I think it's a joke, you know. I went through a lot of warnings under my tennis career.
And there's been multiple occasions where the Spanish star was forced to retire on the court due to devastating injuries. For instance, at the 2018 US Open semifinal, Nadal was in an intense match against Juan Martín del Potro, and from the very first ball, fans could see that he was in a lot of pain. The Spaniard was limping within the first few games, struggling to return shots that he could normally get over the net with ease, and things only got a lot worse after the first set, which lasted for over an hour. In the second set, Nadal asked his trainer for assistance, was given a knee massage, and had his knee taped up, but unfortunately, that didn't help. Nadal was simply unable to play and retired early on in the second set. A similar situation occurred at the 2023 Australian Open. Rafa was taken out in the second round of the tournament and didn't look like the player we all know and love.
Absolutely phenomenal.
Fans knew something was up, and after the match, everyone found out what was really going on. Nadal took to social media, told the world he'd been playing with a terrible injury and had pushed his body too far. Later, Rafa went for an MRI scan, and to his surprise, learned that he was playing with a grade 2 injury in his left leg's iliopsoas muscle, which would take 8 weeks to heal. To be honest though, who knows if Rafa's ever going to be the same player that he once was. His career's been littered with injuries, thanks to his crazy style. Rafa uses his sheer athletic prowess to beat down his opponents, both mentally and physically. While certainly effective and entertaining for most players, such an aggressive style of play wouldn't provide for a long and healthy career. The Spanish sensations actually opened up about this recently, saying, "All my career, everybody says that because of my style, I will have a short career. I am still here. We really hope you'll bounce back, Rafa." Another player who sustained injury after injury as a result of pushing themselves way too far is Scottish tennis sensation Andy Murray. Andy's had the worst luck when it comes to injuries.
Yeah, try best.
We're just entering the... See you later.
Bye.
he's needed multiple hip surgeries and has had problems with basically every muscle in his body. But there was one time that he really pushed himself too far. At the 2022 Stuttgart Open final, Murray found himself playing in a thrilling match against Matteo Berrettini. Everyone was hoping that Murray would pull through and win the championship. However, going into the third set, something was clearly wrong. Murray could barely serve, called his trainer down for assistance, and his trainer suspected a hip injury. Nevertheless, Murray tried to compose himself, continued to fight hard, and tried his best to win the match. Matteo proceeded to smash Murray to pieces because the Scot could barely serve, and Matteo was able to break him on multiple occasions, while comfortably winning his service games, leading to a loss for Andy. It was later discovered that Murray wasn't suffering from a hip injury, but an abdominal injury. Turns out, during one of the service games, Murray tore his abs. Painful, right?
Injury has once again destroyed Andy Murray's chances.
Over 3 hours, Andy Murray simply had nothing left to give.
Yeah, and then it kind of moved on to basically that was mentally weak.
It's like he's in quicksand, Murray, mentally and physically.
Now I know why he wasn't able to serve. Makes sense. And the fact that he continued with such a severe injury shows that sometimes Andy pushes his physical limits too far. Murray's continued injuries have had a severe impact on his on-court appearances, and he's not the kind of player that he once was. It's unlikely that he'll ever play at an elite level again, but he's still optimistic. In a recent interview, here's what he had to say about his future career prospects. "Sorry, I couldn't get over the line today, but there has been a lot of progress the last few weeks. I'm looking forward to what the future has to hold and feeling a lot better about my game. Hopefully my body can hold up a little while longer, so I can keep playing matches like this. Maybe it's time to count your losses before you really injure yourself, Andy." Another British player who pushed themselves way too far on multiple occasions is Emma Raducanu. Emma's one of the youngest female stars in the game, but despite her young age, she's suffered horrible injuries from pushing her body too far. For instance, last year, she had to retire from a tournament in Rome due to severe lower back stiffness. She's also suffered numerous injuries on her shoulders, which is a big sign that she's been pushing her body to the limits. Emma's coach, Sebastian Sachs, reflected on these injuries, and it's clear her team's aware that she's pushing herself too far. Sebastian said, "You really have to schedule your training properly, your competition, all of that. You also have to know that injuries are a part of the game, but the best thing you can do is try to prevent it." I think that's the advice I can give her. It'd be a shame to see such a young star fall short because of frequent injuries, and we hope that she recovers soon. So, from Taylor Fritz violently vomiting on the court to Emma Raducanu retiring during a game because of lower back pain, those were times tennis stars pushed themselves way too far.